Hey there everybody, and welcome to another furniture painting tutorial. My name is Jodie Flavel from Decoris Vintage Designs, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get this very kind of romantic old world look, and it has maybe a little bit of grunge in there too. So it almost looks like an enchanted garden because we've got a lot of detail and we also have lots and lots of shimmer, which I love. So to get started, make sure that your piece is thoroughly cleaned. I like to clean my pieces with white lightning or a very good TSP. More often than not, I like to apply a base before I do anything to a piece. I'm not always big on priming, but I guess it's kind of like my priming a little bit. So here I have a mixture of kudzu and go on, my brain sometimes doesn't work when I'm doing these voiceovers. Kudzu and dried sage, which are both by Dixie Belle, and it's a 50-50 mixture. And I am applying it all over this piece. The brush strokes are kind of all over the place. I'm not too concerned at the moment about brush strokes. I just want to get some really good coverage and I want to make sure that it settles into the grain. I am not worrying about applying water at this point because I want the paint to be quite thick. And I am also painting over the pulls for this piece. I kind of wish I didn't have to paint over the pulls. Sometimes I like to, this time I didn't want to, but for whatever reason, they were kind of like, they've kind of been stuck to the furniture. Like once I opened the drawers, it was just wood. There was no like kind of any way to kind of remove them. So that's why I decided to keep them on this piece. Alright, so this part was painted live and I just want to give you that warning so you wonder why I'm looking at the camera and chatting away. I do the occasional lives, so I like to kind of just edit these down and incorporate them into these tutorials, because that way you still get the information but you just get it much quicker. I'm just showing you here how I mixed the kudzu and the dried sage together just to get the colour that I did. For the second base, I actually added a little bit more dried sage just to make it a little bit earthier. My second colour is Dixie Belle Palmetto, a 50-50 solution again and mixed with evergreen because I want the kind of richness of the evergreen, which is a really bright kind of rich green, toned down with palmetto, but I didn't quite want all of the undertones of the palmetto, and I just felt like by mixing them together that was going to kind of create a nice kind of shadow blend, which it absolutely did. For this next part of the tutorial as well, you are going to want buttercream or any kind of light paint that will suit these greens that you can highlight with. So to get started with, I have the dried sage and kudzu mix again, and I am using a round brush. It doesn't really matter what brush you use for this as such, as long as if you want the smokiness, then you are going to have a round brush. It doesn't matter what round brush as long as it's round. I'm using the Dixie Belle ones and I'm just applying this all over in circular movements. I also want to work in sections, so I'm just doing one draw to start with. I am then getting my palmetto evergreen mix and putting this around the edges. This again, I'm using circular movements, and I actually have my mini for this just to make sure that I can get into all those edges, but then I come in with a clean brush. I like the medium oval brush by Dixie Belle for blending, so it's absolutely clean, and I'm just blending this now into the original colour. It's also a good idea to get water for this, just a little spritz because it helps it move. I then grabbed my buttercream and I'm starting to apply this in the middle and around the pulls. Places that you maybe have been bleached by the sun, I am going to highlight. If you do these circular movements, you want to make sure that you don't overblend, otherwise you will just kind of lose the border of the colours and you will lose the smokiness. I have a really bad issue of overblending sometimes and I really have to stop myself. So for this smoky look, just make sure that you kind of leave it a little bit uneven if you want to, you know, get that smokiness. You can just add and remove and take away like I am doing here. Like, it's not like you just slap it all on there and then it's finished and you can't go back to it. Like, just build it up gradually. There's no rush. You can reactivate the paint with water. You can mist the paint with a little bit of water to get it moving easier and to make sure it doesn't dry too quickly. all of the colours as well are listed below, so all of the products that I use today, because I will be using quite a few Dixie Belle products and a lot of redesign with Prima products to get this look as well. So don't worry if you get a little bit lost, or you don't quite understand what I'm saying, because they're all listed below, and you can just use that as a reference as you're watching this video if you want to recreate this look. Also, I just want to take this opportunity just to say thank you so much for watching these videos. It does mean a lot to me. I really appreciate all the positive feedback I've got and all of the support you guys are giving me, and I just really hope that you are finding these videos useful, because I love creating them and I love kind of teaching. So if you do like this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up and a subscribe as well. And I just want, as I say, I just want to say thank you. You know, in regards to this look as well, you can create it in so many different ways. Like, I am using a lot of different techniques. You can see here that I am tweaking. You can use, even just using different brushes will change the way it looks. Or even if you just try to recreate it exactly as I'm doing, you won't ever get the same blend by doing this because it's a very smoky blend. What I love about looks like this is that they can never be recreated twice, because a lot of the time you're kind of just encouraging the paint to kind of just do its own thing, and you'll see more of what I mean of that in a little while as after I start layering the paints. What I have here now is Dixie Belle's in the navy, and you guys probably know by now how much I love mixing stuff with water. So I love mixing my paints with water, and this is no different. So I have mixed it with just a 50-50 solution of water. I have then grabbed a cheap chip brush and I am testing a little bit here. So I've brushed it onto the furniture and I'm using some crunched up newspaper to get a very unique pattern. As it stands, I didn't really like that look. And that's the brilliant thing about paint. If you don't like the look, then you can always change it. So there's never any need to stress, try never to get frustrated, because it's just so easy to go back in there and change things. So in this case, I grabbed a bit of kitchen towel and I grabbed my water mister, and I actually started using a technique that I also love, and this technique is called ragging. The first technique I used with the newspaper, by the way, in case anybody wants to look it up, is called frotaging, and I can list that below as well. I'm working in sections again. It's probably actually better to work from top to bottom on this, just because of the way the drips are, because you don't want to do the bottom and then get it perfect and then do the top and then have it drip onto the bottom and then have to work the bottom again. I've kind of done it a little bit back to front here, by starting with the bottom first. But yeah, just get your water mixture, get a cheap brush, it doesn't really matter what brush you use, and just put it on there, and then get your rag or a bit of kitchen towel and just start to tap. If you use a little bit too much, then you can just get your water mister and spray the furniture and then tap, or you can actually tap the rag. You could actually spray the rag with water, and then that will remove some of the paint as well. I have to tell you guys, when I actually did this, I did think, oh no, like, I'm going to ruin it, like, have I ruined it, have I? And you know, I was a little bit nervous because I had this really pretty blend and all these pretty stencils, and my heart was going a little bit at this point. I mean, I know it's only paint, but at the same time, I just, you know, I didn't want to repaint the whole thing again, if I'm being totally honest, because of time. But luckily it turns out okay in the end, and I do doubt myself sometimes. I try not to, but I think we all do, but thankfully it turned out great, and I'm so glad that I did this, because then that added to the kind of grungy old world feel that I wanted for this look, and it stopped it looking like pristine and overly blendy. The Dixie Belle Moonshine Metallics Gold Digger. I've made sure the furniture's totally saturated before I applied this, and then I am just applying it in sections again. So I am applying it to the top everywhere, and I am grabbing my water mister and spritzing, and then I am moving the paint along to get rid of those drips. So what I am trying to achieve here is a bit of a shimmery patina. I love my layered looks, I love my patinas, and I definitely love my gold shimmer. I like shiny things. So that's all I'm doing here, and I just want to make it look like it's had some gold on it at one point that has just kind of worn off and maybe got a little bit weathered. So once the top drawer is done, I'm moving on to the second drawer, and again, just like I did with the ragging, I'm working from top to bottom because I don't want to have the bottom perfect and then have the top drawer drip onto the bottom and ruin it and then have to just do the whole thing again. It's just counterproductive, so just make sure you work from top to bottom if you do this kind of look. You know, and some people love loads and loads of drips as well. I do like drips to a certain extent, but I don't like the really thick lines unless I'm deliberately creating that look. In this case, I want the drips, but I want them to look a little bit more natural, like they've kind of just, over time, kind of just started moving away. I don't want it to look like I've just put water on it there and then, if that makes sense. What's great about this as well is that with the Moonshine Metallics is that even though you might not be able to see loads of gold, it will still leave a soft shimmer across the furniture. Now that everything's dry again, I've got my copper colour from Dixie Belle. Unfortunately, these aren't available in the UK, and the patina sprays, I can't even get the patina sprays delivered to me because it's just something to do with customs, but they are available in America and you can also make them rust. If you are in the UK or somewhere where you can't get a hold of this paint, then you can actually make copper paint by mixing Gold Digger and Barn Red. So you will have a similar look to this. So I have just got an artist brush and I am applying to the pulls and the moulds, and then I am spritzing to create this kind of look that the copper is rusting and speckling and dripping to get that authentic aged look. So by layering all of these colours, what you've got to imagine is that it's like it's been painted several times over the years and painted in gold and all these rich coloured greens, and that paint is starting to peel away and, you know, create this kind of faded, grandeur, rustic look. And by layering all these colours and spritzing and using lots of water, that is how we're going to achieve it. Alright, the piece is totally dry, it's been left overnight, and now it's time to get our wax on. For this I used Bestang wax in clear, grey and black. I absolutely love the waxing part. I know a lot of people hate it, but I feel like this is the part you really get to kind of bring the piece together and you get to just accentuate those details in any way that you kind of fancy. And I have just applied clear all over. And then I've got another brush, well, the same brush but like the same style of brush but another brush, and I have put my grey wax on there, and I am just focusing on some areas where I just want to look extra worn and extra earthy. So mainly I'm using the grey wax and I am focusing it around the pulls and maybe the moulds, and again just think about where things have gotten worn and bleached. And then I've got a smaller brush for my black wax and I am focusing this on around the edges to kind of provide a bit of shadowing, a bit of low light, and it would just help give some depth to this piece. So I just want to let you guys know that I am working on improving these videos. I'm working on getting a microphone, and while I will still continue to do the voiceovers, I am also going to be, you know, kind of explaining, I want to film myself explaining what I'm doing beforehand. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.